Hey everybody, happy Friday. Go live. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think everyone wonders about eventually, whether you are in high school, you're in college, or you're even perhaps applying for a job from another job. Getting a letter of recommendation has gotten kind of complicated, especially amidst COVID. So today we're going to be talking about the tips and tricks on how to get the best letters of recommendation during this pandemic. And so let's get to it. The very first thing you want to do if you're a high schooler and you're looking for a letter of recommendation is to choose the right teacher. Now, there is a big myth out there, and that is typically, okay, you need to choose the teacher that's most related to the thing you're applying for, right? So for instance, the traditional wisdom is, okay, if I'm going to be applying as a biology major, I need to get a letter of recommendation from my biology teacher. Or if I'm applying for Cosmos for a computer science program, I need to get a letter from my math teacher or my computer science teacher, right? And the answer is not necessarily. In fact, the subject that your teacher teaches in is less important than actually the quality of the details of the letter of recommendation you get. So the very first thing you want to start thinking about is not necessarily, okay, I'm applying for this, hence I need to get a teacher in that. No. Rewind and ask yourself a simple question. Number one, okay, just who knows you, right? Which teacher even likes you in the first place, right? And, if you're applying for a bio program and it just so happens that maybe the teacher that really likes and knows you best is your English teacher, to be honest with you guys, I would strongly recommend considering the English teacher in this scenario. Now, here's why. On the other side of it, the admissions evaluators, whether it's for a summer program, a college, a university, a scholarship, right? Why are they asking for a letter of recommendation in the first place? They're trying to get someone else's perspective about you, right? As opposed to your perspective about you, right? Because you're going to have tons of time to write a personal statement about yourself, but what does someone else have to say about you? And that letter will only add value to your application if it includes specifics, right? You can probably imagine how many people are, asking teachers for a letter of recommendation who don't even know them. Right? And so when they write these letters of recommendation, right, if they agree to it, it oftentimes comes across as really generic, like, oh, this student is excellent academically and has done this and this, activities, but they can't talk about why that was important to you, or they can't talk about the details of those events, right? They'll just kind of give general, insight as to like, okay, what the student was kind of like. So here's a couple of rules to kind of help you find the right teacher, okay? Which is number one, ask yourself this question. One, who likes you best? Number two, who knows you best? And number three, who writes best? And you want to kind of almost grade the teachers that you're considering, right? Or the non-teachers that you're considering along those three criteria. So one, again, who likes you best? Because they're likeliest to agree to writing one for you. Number two, who knows you best? Because they'll actually be able to speak towards the details needed to make your letter actually worth something. And three, right, who writes best, because you don't want someone with messed up grammar and spelling writing a letter of recommendation. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, you want to schedule time and talk and ask for advice with your teachers, right? Usually well in advance. So, right, for instance, excellent example right now, it's March. A lot of people will probably need letters of recommendation in September or October when they're applying for college, for instance. But you're probably thinking, well, I'll worry about that later, right? I mean, that's like 6 months from now. Why do I need to think about it now? Well, you need to think about it now because you need to start building a relationship with your teacher. And last I checked during COVID, it's gotten kind of hard to do that, right? I mean, how do you, ask to meet with your teacher when you can't even meet them in person? Well, there's something called video and there's something called a phone. You can use either of those things to hold a virtual meeting with the teacher. And you really want to build a relationship by doing what, guys? Remember? Ask for advice, right? Oftentimes we're thinking about majoring this, but we're not sure. Or maybe we're just curious about what our teacher did and how they chose what professions they ended up choosing and to work in, or what major they ended up going into, right? You want to really schedule some time, 5 to 10 minutes, right? Let your teacher know, hey, just wanted to kind of get some advice from you about the upcoming summer, or just maybe my general direction and pathways. Wondering, if you can just let me know, what your perspective on things are. And trust me, guys, when you present it that way and you're asking for advice, teachers are more than happy to give you 3, 5, 10 minutes of their time, because you're not someone who's just coming up and saying, what is my grade? Or, how did I do better? Or, how can I do better on this upcoming test or project? No, this is something different, right? Teachers don't usually get hit up to talk about, just life. So that's an excellent way, especially during March and April, guys, because it's slower right now, right? Things don't really kind of speed up until May or June, right, towards the end of school, the school year. So this is an excellent time to start building a relationship with any teachers that perhaps you just respect, or maybe you can anticipate maybe asking a letter for, come this fall or the summer. And so, yeah, building that relationship by asking advice is tip number 2. Tip number 3, you want to be grateful and you also want to be helpful, okay? A lot of people are very entitled, right? They think that, okay, the world kind of revolves around them. But guys, you want to start everything you say to a teacher, especially if you're talking, whether you're asking for time or asking for a letter, with the words, thank you. Right? Teachers work a lot. They also don't get paid a whole lot. And truth is, especially when it comes to writing letters of recommendation, they're probably not getting paid extra for that, right? During COVID, okay, especially, they probably got a whole bunch of other stuff to worry about as well. So you really, really, really want to be grateful. The way you approach them, the way you talk to them, you want to be very thankful, okay? Now, how do you be helpful, right? Be grateful and be helpful. Well, provide your teachers with some talking tips, right? So for instance, let's say, you're applying for, I don't know, computer engineering, right? For whether it's a summer program or it's a college major, right? And you're going to need, a letter of recommendation. Well, let's say your engineering teacher, right, knows you to the point where, can say that you're a good student, but maybe doesn't know enough about you beyond that, right? Doesn't know what you do, for fun, maybe perhaps through clubs or at home through personal projects. You want to really, if this teacher agrees to write something for you, you want to make their life easier. In fact, you can even do this in the ask, the lead up to, asking for the letter of recommendation. You could just provide a list of talking points, right, that they can use in their letter. Now, here's why. As a student, have you ever written a letter of recommendation? My guess is probably not. And in case you're wondering, it takes a lot of time, guys, to write a letter of recommendation, especially one that's special and means something, right? You need ammo, you need details, right? And so oftentimes your teacher doesn't know you as much as you know yourself and what you've done and what you've accomplished. So you want to kind of create this short list of talking points to give your teacher. No, guys, not the whole one page of, 1,000 words. No. I'm talking about something more in the order of 200, 300 words, right? Maybe, somewhere between 3 to 5 talking points. And you want to kind of, whether it's in the ask in the first place or to follow up when a teacher has agreed, you want to give them those talking points. Because here's why, guys. That will ultimately give you some control over what they write about you. And since teachers are a lot like their students and that they're kind of lazy, chances are many of them will also just copy and paste what you write for them in your talking points. So cool little trick there that I think should really kind of help you out in getting not just letters, but also in getting quality letters of recommendation. So to recap, what are the tips or the secrets to really getting quality letters of recommendation during COVID? 1, choose the right teacher. Okay, that's categorized as one who likes you best, who knows you best, and who writes best. Okay. Number 2, schedule some time to ask for advice or to talk, right? Whether that's before or after class. Again, you're asking for advice here. And at the end, if you want to roll it in, you can ask for the letter of recommendation, right? So how do you do that? Reach out via email or whatever your tech portal is at your school, right? See if they literally tell them, hey, if you just can give me like 3 to 5 minutes, I'm just looking for your advice. That's all you need to do. And almost always that's enough for a teacher to say, no problem, right? And lastly, guys, be grateful, right? Start every sentence with the word, or the first sentence with the words, thank you, and be helpful by sending them, talking points so that, when they're actually getting down to the business of writing your letter, they know exactly what to say, where to start, and where to end. So I hope this was useful, guys. You're going to have a ton of letters of recommendation to get, especially if you're approaching the college app season. But if you're also still, going towards summer program applications, I'm sure you're going to need them too. If you like this video, guys, drop a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, share it, please. We're just trying to basically make life easier for all high schoolers. Until the next time, guys, take care, stay safe, have a great weekend.